All right, welcome back to the Just Build Baby studio. You're listening to the BuildX Podcast, your ultimate guide to creating exceptional homes, innovative living spaces, and staying informed on all aspects of residential building technologies. I'm your host, Buzz Artiano, and together we will explore everything building. Whether you're planning a renovation, new construction, or simply passionate about quality craftsmanship, you're in the right place. Today we're excited to have Pablo Silva here in studio with us. Pablo is the Vice President, LP Custom Countertops and Cabinetry with 19 years of experience in interior finishes industry. Welcome, Pablo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you. So just quick story. I'm going to interject a personal story. So when I was building my house in 2013, and you might remember this.
Yes.
I had an individual come and do a shower for me.
Yes. And
they totally butchered the bottom tile pan, and it leaked from day one. Very disappointed. It was an expensive shower, and I had very expensive tile, still do, inside there. And unfortunately, as you know, when the tile base is ruined, you have to start from the bottom and go up. And so I called you and said, can you help me? And you came down, and you and I came up with a way to cut that and insert a piece of granite that we found that looked good with that stone.
Milled down to 3/4.
Yep. And I had a custom stainless steel pin built for the bottom, and you were able to cut that in and put that granite in absolutely perfect. It's a big shower. I think it's 6x7 with a sill in the front and everything else. And you came in and you put that thing in, and honestly, no one would ever know looking at that it wasn't built that way. So that was my first impression of how much talent you have. And I don't know if I ever thank you for that shower, but thank you. So that's my introduction to how awesome you are.
Thank you.
So tell us about your history, how you got started in this industry, where you've worked, how you learned your trade, kind of, take us from, early days to today.
So basically, I used to work at restaurants.
Like in a restaurant?
Yeah, in a restaurant. So basically, I started working in a restaurant, and basically when I was 16, then I started going into. I was thinking about moving out of state, going to South Carolina. And,
so that was here. You were working in restaurants here.
Yes, I used to work in a restaurant in Milford.
Okay.
And I was in the area of Milford, and then I moved to another restaurant. I started working at another restaurant down in Mendon. At that time, I was working there. It was basically the hours horrible. Basically
restaurant
weekends.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Restaurant stuff.
So basically Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, which I don't like working on Sundays.
Yeah.
And then that started getting to me, and then I was like, you know what, I had some friends that went down to South Carolina. They liked it. They worked at framing, and I decided on basically, you know what, I'm gonna try something new. Some stuff happened, and I ended up not going down to South Carolina. Started helping a friend with the framing.
House framing?
Yes.
Okay.
So at the time it was actually a building. It was commercial.
Okay.
Where the
steel studs?
The pre-built walls.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so
panelized.
It was
panelized. Yep.
Yeah. So it was around August. So at September, it started getting cold. A friend of mine, my family has been on the granite, business. Like my uncle, my brother used to work.
Okay.
So it started getting cold. A friend of mine says, look, I have an opening. Do you want to start working? I was like, I'll start tomorrow. So basically started in 2007. And after I started working with on granite, with the granite countertops, basically the whole granite countertops installing and fabrication, liked it a lot because it's a finished job. It's a type of job that you go in the house, you do the template one day, you come back for the rest, for the installation of the countertops on another day. And it's like you're not on the job for 8 hours, you know. So it's like you go in, you do your stuff, you go back, and then you do the installation. Customer, you know, loves it because, you know, it's a quick turnaround kind of job. And started working with that, you know, get a little bit more professional, started learning the jobs. A friend of mine teach me how to do, you know, basically everything. Within 3 years of being a helper and then an installer, I decided to, you know, start on my own. Went through recession, which was not a fun time.
Yeah.
And basically, once I got into it, you know, never left.
So LP comes from
my sister, which is she's my partner.
Okay.
So it's basically Layera and Pablo.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's where the LP came from.
Yes.
Right. So you spent a long time thinking that up.
Not really. Yeah, I mean, actually, she gave a different name, and then I was like, you know, I never seen the custom. Because every house is a custom piece,
sure.
You know?
Yeah,
it's not
no two pieces are the same.
Yeah,
right.
It's not like, you know, you go in a house because they have the same layout, you know,
right.
as, you know, a condominium. It's gonna, everything's custom.
Yeah.
You know?
Even if it's supposedly the same layouts, there's all little variances.
Yes.
Right.
You know, the variance, in basically measurements.
Yeah.
And even though, you know, some other customers, they tend to ask for a different thing, or we give, you know, recommendations in terms of, you know, what to do, what not to do, you know.
Sure.
So basically, I was like, you know what, let's do the first letter. And I said LP Custom. It kind of...
Yeah, no, I like
in
the
my
name.
mind, in my mind, it went good.
Yeah, I think it works good.
Yeah.
So she's your sister. Is she older or younger than you?
She's older. She's almost 2 years older than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many other brothers and sisters do you have?
So I'm the youngest. My sister, she's the middle child, and I have an older brother who's 4 years older than me.
Okay. Yeah. And is he in a different industry?
No, he actually does countertops as well.
Okay.
We did try me and him, but I think the fuses didn't go.
Yeah, brothers are tough. Brothers are tough.
Yeah, you know, it's two strong minds. I mean, to tell you the truth, my sister has a strong mind.
Oh,
too.
yeah. I wasn't going to say anything. I don't want her to yell at me when I see her.
She has a strong mind, but, you know, sometimes, you know, you gotta, you know, let her win.
She's funny. Sometimes I'll call her. I'm like, yeah, what do you think about us? She starts with, oh, Buzz. And she tells me why it's wrong. It's pretty funny. And most times she's right. Sometimes I win, but most times she wins. So
most times she wins with me. I mean, all the time she wins with me. So
yeah.
Because I go like this. You know what? Just take care of it.
So she handles more of the office, and you handle the measure and the installs.
Yes. So basically, when we started, I was the field guy. So I used to do the measurements. I used to do the installations.
Yep.
Yes. It got to a point where basically COVID time, we were so backed up with work that we ended up having to get basically the Rafael, who does work with us today, is basically the same person that we started. So, you know, we are a small operation, but we are able to, you know, take care of everything. And he has been with me since 2012, I believe.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah, I remember meeting him a long time ago. That's right.
Yeah.
So, so now you started the business. You've been through a couple ups and downs. Tell me how it went from LP countertops to LP cabinetry.
Yes.
Countertops and cabinetry. So how did that occur? What is that facet of your business? What does that look like?
So with the thing with the countertops is in Massachusetts, I mean, I'll say Massachusetts, but it's kind of New England. Countertops, there's a lot of competition, you know?
Sure.
So we decided...
Well, with a proviso there that there's a lot of competition, but not everybody installs it the same.
No, that's the
right?
truth, because quality...
So again, back to that original story. That's one of the reasons why I've been 100% loyal to you, because I know that every seam is going to be beautiful. Yep. Every cut's going to be beautiful. If there's a problem with the stone, you're going to call me right away. You know, if an accident happens, you know, something gets broken, you're going to call me right away. Say, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to fix it. You know, I've picked stone before, like in my office when
Yes.
I picked that stone, which I absolutely love. And you warned me. You said, "Hey, there's some long fissures in this, and if you lean on it."
You like the exotic stuff.
I do. Yeah. When there's 3 stickers on it, 3 gold stickers, like, I'm drawn right to it. Those stickers draw me right in, right? So the long seam, the straight, and you warned me. You said, "Hey, this might, it might break on this seam." And wouldn't you know, the first time on that little piece next to the microwave, on the bottom there, right below the microwave, I leaned on it, and sure enough, the front snapped off. But you were able to come down, pull that piece out. You took it back to the shop. You reinforced the back with the brass rods. And when you look at it, I've stared at it. I know where it broke, and I can't see where it broke, right? So your talent is what separates you, in my mind, what separates you from the so-called competitors.
Thank you.
So, so tell me where that comes from, because not everybody cares about what they do.
Yeah. So, we provide, the installation, the fabrication installation. And one thing that it's, most important for us is the customer service, where, we try to basically, tell customers, the pros and cons, right? Yeah. So with the cabinetry, we basically, we try to go into a field that not everybody goes.
Got it.
So, and then it's one thing that we opened up that door, and with me going to just the measurements, installations, and basically being the project manager, it opened up other doors where now we basically try to go into the renovation.
Got it.
So
now you're handling the bathrooms, the vanities, and all the countertops.
Yes, and
the kitchen.
So basically,
the vanities, the bathrooms.
If a customer comes in and they go like, "Oh yes, I'm looking into doing the kitchen renovation,"
right?
We basically, I go in, I take the measurements, I give them suggestions, recommendations in terms of kitchen layout. They're looking into doing the cabinets. We already do the package, basically. Cabinets, countertops, and then we do the we go to the site, we do the measurements, and we go like, okay, so you have this setup over here, and I think if you do some if you move like maybe the fridge this way, the stove this way, I think you're gonna have a better trafficking in terms of walking around the kitchen, more space and stuff that.
So I think that's one advantage that you would have over the average kitchen designers. I have no idea how many countertops you've put in. It's thousands, right? Literally thousands. So you've got to see a lot of different cabinet layouts, and what works and what doesn't, right?
Yes.
So I think that gives you a unique advantage and insight into what a good layout is, because it's one thing to see it in paper, it's another thing to see it in the field, right? So I think that's important for people to know. So tell the audience about, when I first started way back when granite came on, everybody's like, wow, granite, right? And then I don't remember if Corian came before granite, but they were about the same time. But now there's all kinds of stones, right? So kind of take us through what stones are available, what synthetic materials are available, what's your personal favorite if I don't like this and that. And you work in all those materials?
So basically our major line, we basically do natural stone, quartz, marble, quartzite. Quartz is the main made, right? So it's basically crushed granite with epoxy. So it's a main made material.
So when you see the word quartz, it's real stone, but it's been broken down and manufactured into something else.
So basically what they do is they crush the granite to basically dust, and then they mix, and then they make the
so basically they're using all the scraps from the yard when they're making the slabs. They said, let's not throw this away, let's turn it into something.
Yes.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. When they started with the quartz, was basically back in you would see a lot in Home Depot used to do them. they came up with the uniform pattern. So basically, today, if you walk inside a house and you see those beige browns that has like all those little spots,
Yeah.
definitely, I think it's called Innovate Stone.
Yeah.
Basically in 2007 when they started with that stuff.
Okay.
So
if you see those very uniform patterns, that's a man-made
Yes.
material.
So
we have quartz, all natural stones. What else is available?
So
now?
granite, marble.
Yeah.
Some people do travertine.
Okay.
Travertine I try to stay away from
Because
it.
it's soft?
It's too soft.
Okay.
Scratch is easy. Marble too. I mean, some people, if it's like if you're doing like a showpiece in your house.
Yeah, and it's just for looks.
Yes.
But it's not good for everyday wear.
Because one is, natural stone, you do need the maintenance, which
Sure.
is basically the granite, the quartzite, the marble, travertine, the maintenance, which is basically the ceiling. Some people think that the ceiling, it's like a Medusa. It's like a person with like the snakes because it's so hard to do it. But it's basically just cleaning.
Sure.
You just come with the spray it all around. Some of the sealers nowadays, they are waterproof.
Yeah.
Some of them have oil base. But it's basically just like cleaning. You spray it on, let it, get everything wet, spread it all around evenly, let it dry. Some stone, they do tend to dry and leave that dry water spots where you're looking on reflection and then you see the dry water spot. And what I tell customers is, seal it again and then come drying it off and then you're good. And you got to do that twice a year.
Okay.
It helps preventing against staining. It helps preventing, it also helps in terms of the color of the material,
Yeah, it brings the color out.
Yes,
Yeah.
it keeps it alive.
Yeah. That's interesting. And so, now what about soapstone?
Soapstone, it is a good looking stone, but it's also something that, it's easy to take care of it, but it depends on the person because it scratches really easy.
Okay.
It also breaks and chips really easy.
Okay, so you have to be careful.
Yeah, you have to be careful. But it's, I've seen like countertops that have been done, especially on custom-made cabinets that, you go like, wow. It's beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful,
so,
but it's really easy to scratch.
Yeah. So of all the materials, what's your favorite personal material?
I like quartzite a lot.
Okay.
Yes.
Because?
It's a really high-end material. It's really hard for you to see. And it's just the natural look of it. For example, I believe the table, the conference table, it's quartzite. On
the one in Hanover.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which they say some people call it granite and some people call it marble.
Yeah. It's funny. You should say that. So the story is, for everybody, I had a big wooden conference table made up in Hanover, and over the winter when it dried out, unfortunately, it took a big bow in the middle. Like it just, it cupped up, and it was bad. And it's a big table. It's 4'6" by 13'6", and it was a white oak, reclaimed white oak, beautiful table, but it took a bad warp. And I called Pablo and I said, listen, this table's not going to make it. What can I do? He said, well, I'll go to the showroom and see what they have. And so I called him from the showroom and I said, I'm going to send you a picture. And I sent him the picture and he goes, oh boy. And I said, what do you think? He says, I'll make it work. And I bought the 2 slabs and it's got that big cloud, blue cloud in the middle. And honestly, you would never know. You have to get, within inches to see where that seam is.
Yeah.
And you did a beautiful job on that. And I get so many compliments on that table. And it must have been really heavy bringing it in there because that's a big, 2 big pieces of stone.
And the quartzite is actually heavier.
Really? It's
than
more
all
dense.
material.
Yeah, more dense. Interesting.
Yeah.
So quartzite's your favorite. Your least favorite is?
I don't like the marble. It's not that I don't like it. The thing is the material is too soft. Scratch is really easy. Basically, you put a cup on top of it, you drag it around, you see surface scratches
right away.
Right away.
Interesting.
And it's also in terms of cleaning too, because depending on detergent, soaps that you have, if it has citric acid,
yeah, it'll start tearing it up.
You see like little dots.
I've seen that. Yeah. That's what that's from.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's because
so you have to. So if you want to do marble, you've got to be really careful.
Well,
or you have to seal it
some of the marble like white Carrara, it's the Italian marble. That one, it's a beautiful, beautiful stone, but some substances that get onto that, it's like it takes the finish out so easy.
Yeah, and it's tough to get out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about. So what's your process for? Let's pivot to. We're gonna talk about the field, and then we're gonna talk about the install, and then actually let's start with the showroom. So I want to work with LP Custom Countertops and Cabinetry, and I want to go to your showroom, which honestly I've never been to because I just have you come to my job sites.
Yep.
So where is the showroom?
Okay, so we are located in Mansfield. It's 22 South Main Street. It's right downtown, right next to the town hall. Pretty easy. You got a diner if you go in the morning. There's a diner right next to it.
So you can have a little food busy. And then go see some countertops. Okay.
It's pretty busy. You know, got the now on Saturdays they have like some tents for also on Saturdays.
Outside tents. Yeah.
Yes, they have like a lot of people from a lot of locals.
So it's a fun place to visit.
Yes, and it's a really, really nice town, really nice, clean. The downtown is like really, really clean, all new buildings. Really good place.
Nice. And so in your showroom is what?
So over there in our showroom, we have samples of basically all Quartz brands that we work with. We have the vendors that we work with. We also have samples of the cabinet doors, the lines that we work with. Basically, we have some tiles. We are still on the construction, so we're not fully finished.
Okay.
So we have, once you go to our showroom, we try to basically do the project, put it together.
Sure. So we can walk in, we can pick some tile, pick some stone, pick some cabinets, and then you're gonna come to the field.
Yes. So my sister, which she basically does the helps with the color matching and stuff like that. She basically gathers all the information, like colors that you like, colors that you try to avoid. If you're doing the cabinets, what do you want in terms of the color, maybe the style of the door, So she gathers all the information. Once you have everything set up, we basically do the site visit where we get all measurements, where we can build a kitchen layout for the cabinets and for the countertops.
Got it. So let's talk about that. So are you still doing bringing the pieces and putting them together with the hot glue?
Yes, I do the physical template.
Right. And you find that's better than the electric?
It is, to tell you the truth, both ways work. We do basically the strips because for me, I think it's more precise. Not saying that the laser one is not. The thing with the laser, it's way faster. It's much faster for you to do a laser template. The thing is that fabrication shops that tend to do that, they have to have the machine, basically the maintenance like top notch.
Yeah, calibrated.
Yes,
right.
Calibrated, and also the part where basically CNC, if you're using drill bits and stuff like that, and it's an expensive material to work with, because once they start rounding and cutting, start wearing. And then it gets to a point where it starts cutting everything bigger.
Right,
and then
right, because the tool is worn out.
Yes, and what happens is it's like once it gets to installation time, it creates a hard time for the installer.
Right.
And also damages, because sometimes you get pieces where you have to go in between three walls, one side wall, back wall, and the other one, and then sometimes you trust the person that did the template. So you go like, oh, okay, we don't even need to measure. So try to put it in, scratch as wall. Sometimes you can have the issue where scratch your cabinets.
Right.
The wall you can patch it up, but the cabinet, it's not a good thing to happen.
So now, we've field measured. You've done your template. You go back to the shop. How long from the template to when I see my countertops coming back to me?
So once we do the template, if you already have basically everything chosen, it's usually 7 to 10 business days. I go in we say 7 to 10 business days, but it's faster than that. I go in basically on a Monday, or let's say a midweek, because it's better. Let's say on a Wednesday, you probably see me Tuesday. The installer's Tuesday to do the installation of countertop.
Yeah, and that's been my experience. So I there's been times when I've had to wait a little bit, but it's never held me up, and you've always been very, communicative about what's going on. So I appreciate that, and that's one of the reasons why I've been so loyal to your company is, obviously top quality work and, good communication. So, if there's going to be a problem, you let me know right away, and then I'm not wondering what's going on, right? And
yes.
When people are wondering, that's when they get upset. So, so that's interesting. So now we finished the install. To me, the art or the real science there becomes the seam, right? That's what really separates a lot of the installers from other installers. So how is it that you get your seam so well, so precise?
So the template helps a lot because once I go to do the template, I know the material that they're working with. So if it's the material that has a lot of movement, veining, I know where to place a seam where veins are gonna match, right?
Yeah, you match my table perfect.
Yeah, so we probably, the best thing to do is knowing the size of the slab. Also, you gotta take in consideration basically where you're gonna go through with the stone. I've had countertops where we had to use cranes.
Oh, you mean the physical delivery?
Yes. So basically, you have to know the place. That's one thing too that the actual physical template helps is because.
Oh, you can see if the piece is going to fit up there.
Yeah, if it's going to go
that makes sense. I never thought of that. So you can take that frame, if you will, and it's lightweight, and you can walk through pretending you're trying to get into the job. Because not every job has a front door where you're just walking in and setting it on the countertop.
Yeah, it's like the laser is just like a tripod.
Yeah, it can fit anywhere.
Yeah,
right. No, that's a good point. I never thought of that. So that's another good reason for the physical template, especially on a job that has tough access.
Also, in terms of the template too, is the part where the experience of the templater if he's not an installer, because you go with the laser and you say, oh, okay, this is an L shape of, let's say, usually the slabs go 126, basically 10'6" by 5'4", and they say, oh, this fits on one slab. There's no need for seam. Then you get there. You go through the door and then you try to put it on top of the countertop, and then maybe you have a low ceiling, or maybe you have a wall over here where you can put the L shape in an angle for you to put it in place.
Yeah, so, that would hurt. That would hurt.
So that's one thing that helps a lot doing the template. And then with the seam, we tend to give options to the customer. I usually, before doing the seam, I ask the customer, I tell them, like, okay, so you have two options over here. Unfortunately, if I could bring this in one piece, I would, but we're gonna do, we either have to do a seam over here. We don't like doing the diagonal like Formica because it gets longer.
Yeah, I don't like that look either.
The probability of that filling, if you filling the seam, it's higher because the longer it gets, material variation.
Sure, a piece of stone is not perfectly flat.
Yeah,
right.
And even the man-made ones sometimes because
they have cups in them.
Yeah, they have a little bit of both. So I tell them like, okay, we can do one over here. It's gonna be away from your window. Natural light is not really good for seams because,
that shows everything, right?
It shows.
Yeah, someday I'll tell you about the ceiling that I had to paint 5 times. The whole room was all windows.
Yeah. So I tend to tell them, I go like, okay, so sometimes the most place that you work is the sink. We could do a seam on the center of the sink.
Right.
There's no problems in terms of seam breaking because what we do is we notch inside of the material. So then it basically does a biscuit seam where the epoxy, the 2-part epoxy goes inside and locks it. On top of that, getting everything straight and level. So also that helps a lot too. And then in terms of doing the seam, we have the seam machine, which is called a Gorilla. It's 2 suction cups with an air compressor.
Yeah, I've seen you using that.
Yeah, where you turn them on and then it's basically like a vise, and then you have the levelers to help making it as flush as possible.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference because I can tell you your seams are. I mean, I go to a lot of other jobs that, other contractors have done, and having had my insurance repair business, walked into my fair share of different properties, and I've seen some pretty ugly seams. So
yeah.
I definitely know what good looks like and what bad looks like. So favorite part of your job currently? What's your favorite part of the job?
I think it's going home. I like doing templates.
Okay.
I like the traveling,
So you're on the road.
A lot.
Talking on the phone.
Usually, I drive around 40,000 miles a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So what's your territory? Where will you work?
Buzz, if you tell me you have a kitchen down in Florida, I'll go.
All right.
I don't really, for me, there's no really like a radius. Like the other day I was all the way in Keene, New Hampshire.
Wow.
Oh, what a beautiful place.
So you work a big territory then.
Oh, yes. A lot of jobs in Vermont. I've done jobs in upstate New York, Connecticut.
Okay.
I do a lot of jobs in
So I did not know that. So for other builders, if they're watching and they want a really good installer, you'll pretty much go where they need you to go.
Like Newport, Rhode Island, Portsmouth, Middletown, I'm probably there like 4 or 5 times a week.
Wow.
Yeah. I go there a lot.
Wow. That's it. I did not know that. All right. So give me some industry trends you're seeing. What's new? What's coming out new in your industry?
They're doing a lot of the porcelain counters.
Porcelain counters?
Yes. They're doing the...
And how thick is that material?
So they come out, they have, I believe they have 3 sizes, which is 3/8. I believe it's 3/8, 5/8, and 3/4 of an inch.
Okay.
Right?
And so these are these big sheets that you see people using on the walls in showers.
Yes. For showers, great product for you to use. It's a great product.
Is this something you're currently working with?
Right now, I tend not to go too much with porcelain for counters because...
but will you do the walls of my shower with it?
Yes, I could. If there's if you're building a shower and you say, look, I'm trying to look at something for my showers, I'm probably gonna recommend you to go with porcelain.
Okay.
Big sheets. It's light. For installing, it's good.
Yeah.
Now they're doing a lot of countertops. I don't really deal a lot with the porcelain. I mean, I've done a couple of counters.
And why do you think that's becoming a trend? Just because it's the newest thing, or?
I think it's because it's new. They came out with that, and they're saying, for heat and stuff like that, it's really good. It's really resistant. For example, I haven't done it, but I've seen people where they did it and they have the cooktop that goes right under it.
Oh, the induction top.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So you don't even see the cooktop.
No, all you do is you throw a little mat and you put the pot, turn it on, and it's hot.
Oh, that's interesting. Common misconceptions in your field, other than people think you can do magic.
I think it's just the terms in trying to get the piece in place. Like sometimes where you say like, oh, you're gonna need a seam.
Right.
You know, and they say like, oh, it's impossible. You know, this is only 8 feet long. I'm like, I understand, but the issue is for us to put this in place, you got this wall over here, you got this angle ceiling over here. It's impossible for us to get it in.
Right.
You know.
So physically, you can't get it in the room and set it in place.
Yeah, it's just basically, sometimes it's not even getting in the room, it's just putting on top of the cabinet.
Yeah. So you can get it in the room, but you need to be able to maneuver it into place.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I've had jobs where the piece was like 5 feet and we had to do a seam on it because it wouldn't go in.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting. So again, that goes back to your, natural talent over the years of installing thousands of countertops and done thousands of templates and then had to do the install after the fact. You've learned what works and what doesn't, right?
Yeah. I think
I'm sure you've learned a couple the hard way.
I know. I mean, sometimes you get back home and your back is saying like, I can't do it anymore. That happened a lot.
Yeah, I hate it.
I've had like jobs where I was like, no, this can go in one piece, and then once we get over there, we're basically like crawling on the floor with the piece to get it in place. And then I'm like, why did I do that? I should have just done a seam over here and that's it, And it almost kills us.
Yeah.
The bruises is a lot, I've had a lot of bruises from the countertops.
All right, here we go. So now we're going to a rapid fire segment, okay? So favorite tool you can't live without?
Level.
Your level. All right, that's a good one. Dream project you'd love to work on?
I think building a whole house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Foundation up.
Basically, yeah. I kind of did that to my house. My house, I did the demolition, basically 2 studs, did everything. But I wanted to do a job where customer comes in and say like, look, I want you to basically design the house and then just build it.
Okay. All right. Best piece of advice you've ever received?
If I received?
Yeah. Best piece of advice you've ever gotten from someone?
I think it has to do something in terms of the seam. It's like, look, if it's too big, don't hurt yourself. Put a seam on it.
All right. Advice you would give your younger self, and you can't say don't make the seam too big.
Okay. Advice that I give my
younger self. You go back and talk to Pablo of 2013 and you say what?
I think I would say work on the field for a certain time and then go into sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good advice.
Yes.
And finally, my favorite, what's your favorite food and your favorite dessert?
My favorite food has to be Brazilian food.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not really a sweet guy, but I like the Brazilian flan.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my favorite dessert.
Okay. That's a wrap for today's episode of the BuildX Podcast. Thanks to Pablo from LP Countertops for joining us. Please subscribe, like, and share if you've enjoyed it, and we'll see you next week. And remember, Pablo, just build, baby.
Yes, sir.